At a Los Angeles airport, flight attendants Jenny and Paula prepare for their next trip. Captain Forrest and his co-pilot Willie join them, and they notice that the flight will have very few passengers because of the thunderstorms. Willie also takes some medicine because he isn't feeling well. The passengers soon board. George is a teenager who often flies alone and dislikes being treated like a child. Bev is traveling with her husband, Dr. Kingston, whose Parkinson's disease prevents him from moving or speaking. Army medic Sheila is nervous about flying, while Louise relaxes with her cat. Niall and Susan are expecting a baby and are extremely concerned about germs, so they clean their seats before sitting down. Forrest and Micah are excited foreigners who don't speak much English. Henry has brought a cage of hamsters, and when Ralph tries to help him place it in the storage bin, he gets bitten. The cage doesn't fit, so the attendants force Henry to send it to the cargo hold. Meanwhile, businessman Preston keeps sneezing and appears to have the same illness as Willie. After takeoff, Jenny tells Niall to put away his phone, but he refuses. Henry also gets involved, and the two men start arguing. Jenny sends them back to their seats, warning that they could be arrested when they land if they don't behave. Henry later flirts with Jenny and tells her about his PhD while complaining about the poor manners of modern society. Soon, Henry watches the news and learns that the CDC has surrounded an apartment building in Los Angeles. At the same time, Ralph begins feeling sick. He asks for water while staring at the wound on his thumb. Jenny notices his strange behavior, and when she checks on him, he suddenly vomits all over her. His mouth is foaming, and he demands to get off the plane. Jenny leaves him with Paula while she cleans herself up. Suddenly, Ralph runs through the corridor, knocks Jenny down, and starts pounding on the cockpit door, demanding that the plane stop. Willie locks the cockpit while Forrest warns ground control. Henry tries to stop Ralph but is easily overpowered, followed by George and Preston. Eventually, George, Paula, Sheila, Preston, and Henry work together to restrain Ralph with plastic cuffs. Sheila checks everyone for injuries while Jenny privately admits to Paula that she feels useless during emergencies. Forrest then announces that they have been ordered to land. During the rough descent, the attendants instruct everyone to keep their heads down. Ralph's body keeps sliding around, so Jenny and Paula struggle to secure him in a seat. Suddenly, Ralph wakes up with red eyes and bites Paula's nose, badly injuring her. He becomes violent again, forcing everyone to push him into the bathroom and lock him inside. After landing, Sheila gives Paula medicine to prevent her from going into shock and wraps a scarf around her face. However, Paula is losing a lot of blood and needs immediate medical attention. Ground control tells them to wait, frustrating Forrest. He decides to break the rules and use an unassigned gate. Baggage handler Ed sees the plane and opens the gate just in time. Forrest and Willie hold the bathroom door shut while the passengers leave. Bev and Kingston remain behind because Kingston needs help. Ed leads the group toward another gate, but the doors are locked. With no response on the radio, they enter through an employee entrance and reach the staging area. Ed discovers that the airport is under lockdown and that the security cameras are still operating. Soon, they hear sirens and see police cars and ambulances outside. A voice announces that they have been quarantined and must wait for help. The passengers call their families and then turn on Jenny, blaming her for the airline's decisions. Sheila interrupts and explains that she has a medical kit in her luggage that could help Paula. Jenny, Ed, and several passengers go searching for it, but the power suddenly goes out. When they return to the plane, Forrest and Willie are gone. Jenny opens the bathroom and finds blood everywhere. Kingston is sitting alone, and Bev has disappeared. Kingston points toward plastic restraints on the floor that have been chewed through. Ed finds a hatch leading to the baggage hold. Jenny retrieves Sheila's medical kit while Niall grabs a gun. Ed notices a rodent and scares it away, calling it a rat, while Henry insists it may have been one of his hamsters. Jenny then sees Preston's blood-covered laptop. Suddenly, an infected Forrest appears and attacks her. The others try to stop him, but their punches have no effect, so Niall shoots Forrest. Blood splashes onto Niall's face. The group escapes into the gate corridor and finds Kingston thrown from his wheelchair and Preston unconscious with a bite wound. Bev appears, crying for help, but suddenly transforms and attacks Jenny. Jenny escapes, and the others lock Bev outside. Sheila treats Paula while Susan cleans the blood from Niall's face. Despite everything, the two still share a kiss. Jenny notices more blood on the floor and finally takes control after realizing the captain is dead. Sheila explains that this is not a known disease. Jenny remembers the quarantine department building from the news and realizes the two events may be connected. Kingston notices a red-eyed rat, but before he can warn anyone, it falls onto his head and bites him. George knocks it away, and the others capture it. Sheila treats Kingston's wound, but the group decides to lock George and Paula inside a crate in case they become infected. Ed examines the rat and discovers a laboratory tag on its leg. George accuses Henry of bringing the rats and lying about the hamsters. Henry denies it, claiming laboratory rats could never have passed security. Suddenly, Ralph attacks Jenny again. The others rush to help and eventually strangle him with a hose. Ed then receives word that the CDC has arrived. Four officers enter, but instead of rescuing the group, they hold everyone at gunpoint, take the rat and Niles' weapon, and inject Paula and Kingston. They demand that everyone else accept injections too. Louise volunteers, but before she can be injected, her cat bites her neck and escapes. Kingston transforms and attacks an officer. The officers shoot him, force open the locked door, and escape. Police outside open fire on the survivors, killing almost everyone except one injured agent. The group drags the surviving agent inside and hides in a container as the infected approach. Susan notices Niall foaming at the mouth and realizes he is infected. Sheila also discovers that the injections were different colors, meaning the officers were not simply following a standard procedure. Henry forces the surviving agent to reveal the truth. He isn't with the CDC, but works for a Homeland Security organization dealing with chemical and biological terrorism. Earlier, they investigated the quarantine department and discovered a laboratory created by a cult. The cult had been trying to develop a cure using an infected survivor, but their experiments made the disease worse. The group at the airport was being used as the next human trial. The agent reveals that the rats carry the disease and then kills himself. Ed remembers an old drainage tunnel beneath the terminal that could provide an escape route. Willie suddenly attacks through an opening in the container. Henry tries to shoot him but has no bullets. Ed tells George to activate the container lift, crushing Willie against a beam. The group escapes, but Henry disappears. Niall is dragged away, and the others hurry towards safety. Jenny finds that Paula has transformed and is forced to kill her with a wrench. They reach an office and discover blueprints showing a route to the drainage tunnel. George also finds suspicious laboratory documents and a mysterious box in Henry's bag. Inside are medicines and a syringe. Henry returns and admits he brought the infected rats. He reveals that he belongs to the cult, whose goal is to eliminate humans because they believe humanity is destroying the planet. Henry threatens Jenny and demands the antidote. Ed attacks him but is shot dead. Henry takes the medicine, mixes it with blood from his wound, and injects it into his eye. He explains that his followers work inside different organizations, allowing them to move the rats through security. Henry takes George hostage and escapes. Jenny searches for them but encounters infected Preston. She manages to lure him toward a machine and kills him. She later finds Sheila, who has thermal goggles, and reveals that she has been bitten. Sheila tells Jenny to save George while she distracts the infected. Jenny follows Henry's path through a hole in the wall. She finds blood, the blueprints, and Henry's shirt near a ladder leading to the drainage tunnel. George is there and tells her the antidote failed, and Henry has transformed. Henry attacks Jenny, but George uses the thermal goggles to locate him and shoots him. Jenny then finishes Henry with the wrench. Flames suddenly appear below as the authorities begin burning the terminal. Jenny finds a baggage tunnel, and she and George escape through it. However, Jenny realizes she is infected. George refuses to leave her behind, and they continue together until they reach a barred exit. George manages to get through the bars, but Jenny transforms and tries to attack him. She is too large to fit through, allowing George to escape by removing his jacket. George finally gets out of the airport alive, while Louise's cat also escapes into the city, carrying the infection with it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more movie recaps. Thanks for watching.